Hey legends, Michael from 90 Plus GAMSAT. We are doing a quote interpretation of a set on pain and suffering. So let's have a look. Prompt 1, suffering is the first rule of life, no pain, no gain. So this is, I want to say an almost our parents' generation type view on it, where pain is seen almost as a rite of passage. You'll recall, for example, Spartan civilization, or really any old civilizations. It was quite common that before a boy became a man, there was some kind of ordeal that had to be moved through. That suffering was not something to be avoided, but a rite of passage, and not a privilege, but something to be endured with a stiff upper lip, so to speak. I'm going to put a pin in that, and I'll come back to it to see how the different prompts all kind of play into one another. But let's move on to 2. Pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. So this is from the poem On Pain by Khalil Gibran. He also says, actually, let's just start in the quote. So in this view, this seems to be getting at that there is some kind of wisdom to do with pain, that pain isn't just an unfortunate circumstantial feature of life to be done away with, medicated and eschewed, but in fact, there is no way to grow, gain or develop wisdom without experiencing pain, trial or ordeal. Prompt 3, suffering is a privilege. Our tears bear witness of the courage to suffer. So again, this seems to be suggesting that pain isn't something to be muted or medicated or avoided, but that we should cherish our suffering, and that it's courageous to suffer. What I think this also has hints of is people's avoidance of suffering. So it's typically human to drink, drug, smoke, have sex, socialize, shop, or do any manner of things to avoid 10 uncomfortable minutes. In fact, it's typically human to poison ourselves for most of our life to avoid 10 really uncomfortable minutes. So the willingness to sit in pain and to be abject witnesses of our misfortune or of the energy that comes up, right in there is the kernel of wisdom. So I think prompt 2 and 3 are somewhat similar in that regard, except 1 is more focusing on the outcome, and 3 is more focusing on the input. All right, and then 4. One thing we tend to believe about pain is that it's wrong. So this is perhaps less a less traditional and a less spiritual and a less tough view on pain. So obviously the person is saying here that we believe that it's wrong, and therefore that if something's wrong, that it's to be avoided. It's to be sanitized, deodorized, minimized. And I think that this has suggestions of our culture of trigger warnings, microaggressions, and that our education system by and large exists, well, I shouldn't say exists, but increasingly is being rendered not as a thing, or actually even just our social spaces, not as places where where our views are challenged and where we grow and where we debate respectfully, but that these places too need to be sanitized for any risk or possibility of hurting or harming us. All right, I'm going to try and keep these a bit shorter from now on, so I might leave it there. I hope that gives you an idea of some of the ideas that are being gestured at by these prompts, and gives you an idea of some of the things that you might like to discuss. All right, thanks guys. Bye.